Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube video about Chambers of Xerx's efficiency guide. Honestly, this will help you towards better PBs, especially if you never tried to PB run or anything like that to be efficient. Let's get into the guide. Number 1. Pre-potting. You need a Slayer Helm, Ancient Mace, Special Attack Ready, Piety on. Hit once, instantly turn Piety off, and we have 130 prayer to begin the raid with. Also, I do have to mention one other thing. We are not finished yet. We follow this up by actually pre-potting before we go in. So you can say you want to have 1 angler or 2 anglers, like this. Fine, into Zambrakbril, into Angler, rapid heal so you don't lose it, in towards this. I personally use Lunars, so I will set myself to Lunars. And then also a neat little trick for Tekton, go back to standard, keep mages on, recrap all our gear and let's start the raid. Tip number 2. For Tekton, we actually are going to do vulnerability that will leave us a 10% more chance on landing our specs. If you want to speed along your Tekton, you can always use an extra Venge. If it actually does proc, you will increase the time on Tekton by dragging him towards the most northern place. If you hit it with a Vortic weapon, let's say Inquisitors, you can do 2 hits into a mace, into a side, which is quite nice actually. You have an extra hit that way. Now for crabs, you wanna send your Sangstaff on long range, so you can instantly start your puzzle, and if you actually go towards here, you can reset it, drop an item into ranging. That saves you a little bit at least. Ah, yikes, that happened. Second thing also is, if you want to drag, let's say, a certain amount of crabs, you really want to go for the Sang, because it actually can heal you, which provides a lot of benefits, of course. Before actually the room ends, you can still do 1 extra Sang hit in. So any scav room where the scavengers are, you can heal among the scavengers with your staff as well as the crabs. If you do happen to do challenge modus, this is where you kill them for more efficiency, because he spawns over here then. If not, just run along, because you don't want to do any kind of reps, because that's time waste in normals. Now for Ice Demon, actually those 2 over here, this is from screen marks. You wanna keep in mind that this will help you a lot. Once you set to private, you can deposit, instantly start chopping. Every chop that you do, you don't wanna do more than 2 game ticks, and then you wanna go off, because otherwise the chance that it actually deploys or destroys the kindling, the sapling, will be tremendous towards your efficiency. But in my opinion, Ice Demon is not a thing that you really want to do, because it takes quite a lot of time, in a no prep especially. To make more of your time, you want to lit as many braziers as possible, so 2 full inventories and then a half one on the Ice Find. You wanna do the Iced Vine last because he actually withdraws kindling out of the brazier. Therefore it takes too long and you won't be fast enough. Or time. Once you've light this first brazier, you actually win 2 game ticks because he starts 2 game ticks earlier than this one. So now you theoretically have enough put in, but it takes longer to regain, so therefore you can do another 10 or so on the third one. Of what you don't need, and this is very important. If you want to withdraw and deposit, watch. You know, it's quite helpful to have everything in order. So let's go like this, right? Oh, my bad. Take some practice, boom, we're ready. You only want Warhammer if you don't have anything other Warhammerable things after. So let's say you have Tekton after Ice Demon. I personally wouldn't Warhammer. So as you see, we walk 3 by 3. And we can keep doing that consistently until he's dead. So for shamans, you don't ever wanna let him jump and just run along the room, it should be fine. Make sure if you're actually doing teams that you don't kill your teammates at all with the splash area of effect damage, of course. So be patient and try to stay safe of your friends. So now Vanguards is arriving, you wanna stay on long range. If it actually spawns like this, you can do at least 2 hits in before actually being seen, and he runs away. So the next little trick is here, the melee actually runs away if it spawns there, but if it spawns over here or over here, he will run like this and get stuck on the tile over there. Oh, I actually resetted it and I didn't pay attention, my bad. Now for the major, I will highly recommend Venge. They hit quite big. You can actually range the ranger, it's just not that efficient. But if he's out of range, it is an option to actually consider. If you walk under the ranger, he cannot walk out of you. So it's always a safe spot. One big advantage, in my opinion, is always having the same amount of gear with you, so the switches are appropriate to what you're being used to. As you see, 1 hit, 2 hit, and nothing saw us over here. Always try to set the melee safe spot, of course. It hit like a trunk. So for thieving, you want to bring a lockpick to open the chests a bit faster. Now the thing here is you want to run on a 1 game tick cycle, so everything what's in a square, so to say, within a game tick is doable to be as fast as possible. This is a good layout since it's a CM. So as you see, every time I open one, the other one closes. I'm a little bit slow because I'm not 99 thieving. If you have 99 thieving, you almost always one tick the chests. So I will highly recommend you to mark either the chests or the placements. There are multiple placements in between. For example, this one. That one is also nice. I wouldn't go for bats unless you absolutely need the heal. Otherwise, you will lose quite some time, more than you actually might think. Now, if you actually dump in the worms, you want to dump them in somewhat halfway through the inventory, so it has time to regen while you actually do the rest of it. it's good to know how much you need. In a solo and it's pretty much 30. But keep that in mind. So if you actually do see M's, here will be a little trick, whatever you want to pronounce it, to make it more efficient. You want to make sure you have your things ready and kind of want to spam click the door. Once you see it go to 0, spam click, spam click, spam click. Wait 1 game tick and then walk. That way you will be arriving at Vespula quite early in the cycle as she doesn't hit the minion. Never mind, I did it wrong. But try it out for yourself. So you wanna consistently walk. Or run, I could rather say. Try not to stand still. Standing still will get you either killed or using too much supplies. Now there is this one trick with restores, like you can do like this, right? And then set it off and on again. And you don't actually use any amount of potions. Keep in mind this might be a slower method because it needs to regen, as you see. Therefore, it's not always that optional. But if you're running low on supplies, definitely feel it to give it a try. So for Tightrope skip, you want to tank the rangers and actually tank the mages. Therefore, it's a strange setup with the BCP and Armadillo legs. And then actually a Phoenix necklace on. And if you see over here, I will slowly set it for you guys in slow motion. See it better. I drop actually 1 item there for the crystal to pick up. So the moment, I will keep this on slow motion, the moment that we go off and you see this XP drop over here, that is actually once you want to eat 1 Saradomin potion, click on the crystal. The moment you click back towards the tightrope again, you want to click another Sara and a Phoenix, and that should all be done within the same game tick, otherwise you will die because it will proc too early. So now it will actually proc midway through and you're fine. So for Guardians, there is nothing much to say. You can use your special attack if you don't need a Warhammer or Claw spec after. So one little trick might actually be, once you enter the room, I will show it right now for you guys. Let's say you're in a team, right? You don't want to waste your ticks, so you hit this one and then you go over to this one. That way you win about 3 or 4 game ticks. It's quite nice to actually make sure that you just hit one in, especially if you're first compared to the rest of your team. Just to make, slightly more time or better time. Now the next thing is that you, in a team, want to make sure you help your allies out and then attack at the same game tick both the Guardians to death. That way you save 5 game ticks, and why, you might ask yourself? Solely because the next hit will be 5 game ticks later, because your Crystal Axe, or just your axe generally, is a 5 tick weapon. So if you don't kill them at the same time, you need to wait 5 game ticks, hit it, and then wait on the death animation. But in a team, if both attack at the same time a different Guardian, it will save you 5 game ticks. And with that first hit on the first Guardian, if you're first, and then run to the next Guardian, you save about 9 game ticks in this room. Now there is one little extra trick that might help you if you're low in food, and that is actually doing your first hit on the furthest away guardian. That way you can actually, I will showcase right now, like this. You get dragged and then run and hit, right? That could be a nice little trick, but that's only if you need food. And as you saw, it boxed. So theoretically that would have been a heal if we actually needed a heal. Now for Vasa, you wanna enter with as much as possible HP and drop one item. Equip your Phoenix necklace and your recoil. I don't have a recoil right now because it's not worth if it's not Vasa first. And then just hit. So for this trick, you wanna get used to your F keys. It's quite simple. You right click the rigger. The moment that the crystal dies, you click your rigger left click. That way it's actually on. As you see over here, without going to the tab. It saves you maybe a game tick. It's not too bad. It's actually a fun little trick in my opinion. If you stand 10 tiles away, he will not hit you, so that's quite nice. Now the first my stick, you can actually safe spot, so you don't get damaged at all. We actually are lucky and get our second my stick over here as well. If you run towards here, try not to lose damage. And just lure him in the melee safe spot. As you see, he just walks over there. He only walks there because he needs to see you diagonal. Or horizontal. / vertical, depends on where you're standing. But this specific safe spot is diagonal. Like that. You can drag them as long as you saw it's diagonal, diagonal, and he's stuck again. This saves you many food. Bench as much as often, because the cooldown is 30 seconds. It's quite long actually. You could actually skip the tendril skip, but I didn't show because I totally forgot about it, sorry for that. But you know the marks over there, right? If you spam click then the door and wait a game tick after, you're good to go. You will always tendril skip. But now you want to chop consistently the meat tree, and every time you got an XP drop, you want to hit the boss. Don't go lower than 50% because he will regen and eat. Do this with your magic setup, so you actually can heal a little bit off the mini Muttadile. So once it's dead, you protect from melee and go under him and do a hit. Go under him, do a hit. Consistently like that. Keep the mage gear as we have right now. An arcane or an Elysian would work. I wouldn't recommend an Elysian of course, but an arcane definitely. Especially for the hits from the big one over there, like Mama Muttadile. She can mage the crap out of you. I would recommend to maybe try to save a Venge for the big one instead of the mini one, if time allows that. If you're early, you can maybe Venge a decent one on the mini and then Venge, you know, the second one on Mutta. But if it's already close to being dead, the mini, don't Venge and wait until the big one comes, because they deal way more damage. Therefore it's, you know, quite a bit better. As you see, my my range was drained. You kind of want to use the twisted kits, if you have them, over, let's say, a restore. Now if you actually need a prep, for whatever reason, if you're on Lunars, use Humidified. That will save you maybe 15 to 20 seconds. But it wouldn't be recommended, try to no prep. So if you prep, don't prep like this as a caveman here at the bank. Don't do that. The better way actually is to click on the passageway and then on your brews, or whatever you're making. This way at least you're running to your next location while making your potions. It will save you maybe 15 seconds, I guess. But keep in mind, every little bit helps. Oh yeah, and also only prep what you know you're gonna use. Don't over prep. If your first hit does not land, don't worry, in the first phase you can easily do a second one in. Try not to lose damage. Crawlers of course work way better. So if you splash and you run like this, you lose about one full hit. If you don't hit, and it is not advised. The better way is to go back to this square, tank and hit, and run back. So you consistently stay in the 3-2-1. Don't worry about overloading early if you're full HP. You'd rather overload early so you get heals back from your Sang. And actually, let's say, almost being mage hand done. So for example, he did turn incorrectly, we go like that. We tank and hit and just go back at it to keep in pace. If you run low on stamina, you can walk this bit and then attack, run back and fixed. Now an extra thing for on is after you're done with your 3-0, as you see over here, I'm not the best switcher, but you want to set up instantly your weapon so you don't lose damage on your weapon and gear switches. So that way you at least do a hit in, even though let's say you still have your mage gear on. Try to always be in cycle, especially with a 4-1. In my opinion, that's the most difficult to stay in compared to let's say your 3-0 on mage. If he actually turns like that, you're just screwed. Too many zeros. It's helpful to be your spec ready and already ready with your prayers before the kill starts, so you can instantly start the cycle as you do please. Spawn a trawler beforehand, make sure your stamina is ready. So make sure when phase 3 is about to start, you eat up and make sure you're completely comfortable and actually ready with your trawlers and everything. The same game tick that he spawns, you want to make sure you do actually 2 hits with your Warhammer, walk to thumb, and then into a 4-1. That way you're instantly set for 4-1. So with running the head, you want to hit as much as possible. So definitely feel free to tank and hit here and there, but make sure you do a hit more in, it's gonna be worth. If you want to avoid and not go for time, you want to trade 1 hit on each side, for example like this. And then go back over here, so you see we lose a hit over there and then we attack. So that's twice as slow than for example this, and then go along. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell.